to just make a statement that this is what it's going to be like all night. We're going to dominate. And I just think that, if you don't set the tone from the beginning, it's hard to set the tone later on.
Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown's 5-day used car super sale. Jeff puts an end to high prices now. 5 days of the best car, truck, and SUV deals ever. Over 1,000 vehicles, every make and model. Stop overpaying. See Jeff today and get a quality car, truck, or SUV now. The 5-day used car super sale. Experience how easy it is to deal at Jeff's. Nobody treats you better. Nobody gives you more. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. GoJeffAuto.com.
Welcome back to the Lehocky Postgame show. It's time for our D'Ambrosio drive of the game, you guys. I already know mine. I'm going to go first so you guys don't steal it from me. It is the third offensive drive for the Eagles. 7 plays for 82 yards, ending in a 53-yard bomb to Quez Watkins for a touchdown to end the second quarter. I think that's an obvious choice why that is my drive of the game, but I really just loved that moment for Jalen Hurts, because that is the type of play that a lot of Hurts naysayers have been saying he could never make. So we were all watching the game together, and when that play happened, I feel like it was silent in the room for like a split second, because we were all a little bit in shock that that play happened, and it stood, and it actually counted as a touchdown without a flag being thrown or anything like that. That has typically happened for the Eagles in recent history. Seth, what is your drive of the game?
I'm going with the first one. I mean, 11 plays, 82 yards. They ate up 5 minutes and 52 seconds right out the gate to just make a statement that this is what it's going to be like all night. We're going to dominate. And I just think that, if you don't set the tone from the beginning, it's hard to set the tone later on. I mean, I love how they started this football game.
Tegan?
I'm going to go with the drive in the second quarter on the one where Jalen Hurts ran 26 yards for the touchdown with authority. They started out that drive with 2 pass plays, and they ended it with 4 consecutive running plays. And you look at every play on this drive, they gouged them for 19 yards, 16 yards. And Jalen Hurts caps a 7-play, 85-yard drive. When you think about this, it was a 6-play drive, and it only took 3 minutes to complete. And I know Minnesota was caught off guard with the power, the lower leg power of a Jalen Hurts, and that's embarrassing. You know how many times the defensive coordinator is going to show that play to his guys for the rest of the week? You let a quarterback punk you on a play like that. So that is my drive of the game.
I am with you 100%.
Yes, Mike.
And here's the reason, because the Eagles punted, and Minnesota went 3 and out. But the score was 14-7 at the time. And so they come out that next drive after they had punted in the previous series, and they start out getting Devontae Smith with 2 big throws. But the thing is, after they go incomplete on 2nd and 10, then Scott gets the big play. So now they're all of a sudden, boom, they're at the 34-yard line. They run it on first down, -1. They come back with the run. And that's when Sanders gets up the middle for 9 yards, and that leads to the 3rd down play with Jalen Hurts. I agree with you. That was a great drive, immediate and really deadly to go up 21-7.
And surprisingly, it was the last touchdown of the game in the second quarter.
Yeah, have we talked about that? Because is that concerning at all? That the Eagles, yes, they put up 24 points, but then nothing, a goose egg in the entire second half.
Not really. I mean, if the game was closer, absolutely. I'd say, they need to put more points on the board. But I've been right the last 2 weeks. My prediction has been 38 points last week and 24-20 this week in the pregame. So I'm okay with those 24 points.
It makes you look good.
Oh, my goodness. Are you serious?
He's amazing. He's amazing.
Expert analysis. It makes me look smart, so I'm okay.
Are you heading to one of the tables after we're done here since we're at a casino?
I work too hard for my money to gamble it away. No, thank you.
Had Minnesota not squandered 4 opportunities to get back in the game, it may have meant something.
Right.
But because they just they just gave it up. It's just really surprising that they didn't take advantage of anything, in which case that would have maybe stressed the Eagles out a little more. But because they didn't take advantage of it, it was just comfort city. That lead stood.
Yeah.
And look in the fourth quarter how many passes Vikings receivers dropped. That's when you knew they basically threw up the red flag and knew this game was over. Even though they had numerous opportunities to get back in this game, the quarterback turns it over 3 times. They're dropping passes wide open in the flats down the sideline. they had basically conceded defeat at that point because they knew offensively they were doing nothing against this defense tonight.
All right, I don't want to be like negative Nancy here. I know we just forced you guys to be rays of sunshine on the last segment I was on, but the first drive was what I was also going to choose because it was beautiful except for those flags and those penalties that kept happening. I know I heard Lane Johnson call it, Sloppy Joe sandwich, brown bag lunch style. A lot of mistakes to clean up. But now this is the second week in a row, second game where just penalties have, I don't want to say killed the Eagles because they still won, but they had 10 last week. They were in the top of the league in penalties. So I don't know. How concerned are we about that, especially with our offensive line?
If they're going to run those RPOs, then they're going to run the risk of having illegal guys downfield, you know, in the passing game. That's just what they're going to have to live with because the offensive linemen don't know whether he's handing the ball off or what he's doing. And some games, I would like to note, I mean, I don't know who was the crew, the referee crew for this game, but I'd like to note and see as the season progresses when they get this crew again, whether they call it that way. Because there's a lot of teams, like when Baltimore runs this offense, they have the latitude of being able to have guys down the field because in the run-pass option concept, they allow for, you know, offensive linemen to be, you know, 2-3 steps down the field, and they'll let you get away with that. But this crew was just not having any of it whatsoever. So it's something worth looking at because if the Eagles get this crew multiple times throughout the year, then the coaching staff is going to have to be aware of this crew and say to themselves, okay, when we run our RPOs this week, okay, we can't fire out the way that we normally do. And that's part of what really makes it work is being able to trick the linebackers to step up on an actual running play. But, you know, Devin, you bring up a good point. You know, the penalties have been a problem. And most of the penalties, in my recollection, I believe have been on the offensive side of the ball. They really need to clean that up.
Well, they went through the same thing early on last season in Sirianni's first season. Last week, they had 10 penalties. Tonight, 8 more. So 18 penalties in 2 games now. And it's similar to what they went through, but the end results have been much better.
Right.
So at least you're getting the end results while you're still making these early season mistakes. They'll get that corrected between Jeff Stoutland, Steichen, and Sirianni. Believe me, they'll get this ironed out before too long.
All right.
That Mike's commentary. All right.
It's very
Skeptical?
unusual that they call that many, and you're right. It might be the crew because you know I don't know. I haven't seen that many called that way, and there were 3 early on. So is that a Stoutland talking point, or is that just a?
No, I think you have to look at the other teams in the league that runs a similar style offense and ask yourself, you know, if the Baltimore Ravens can get away with it the way that they get away with it, and obviously, you know, the Buffalo Bills, you know, use a little bit of that. If they can get away with those types of things, you know, then why are the Eagles being taxed so much on it? You know, there are certain things that are point of emphasis, like the illegal contact down the field. We were talking about it during the game. There was one call on the Eagles and one call on Minnesota. We was like, man, that's just ticky-tack. Let the guys play. But those points of emphasis are going to be overemphasized, and then you have to look at certain crews throughout the year. When you watch them throughout the year, they begin to have this, you know, this habitual, you know, I don't know, even I can't even think of the adjective that I'm trying to find here, but they have a habit of calling certain things more than any other crew. So I'd really be interested to find out who this crew is, and find out by the time the next time that the Eagles play under this crew, whether they call it as close as they have. And then look at, you know, teams like the Ravens and the Bills and other teams that implement some of this stuff and see if they call it that.
In other words, they have a proclivity to call that.
Yes, thank you, Mike. My vocabulary is expanded.
That was the word. That was on the
proclivity of
Yeah,
calling that.
let me look that one up.
Spell it and I'll be really
Proclivity,
impressed.
Proclivity.
Wait a minute.
Wow.
He's looking at dictionary.com over here.
You definitely look that up.
Let's take a
There's
break.
no-
It's late. Game ball's coming up, and we'll wrap this baby up on the Eagles postgame show. Upon Lehocky Eagles postgame show. Back after this.
Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown's 5-day used car super sale. Jeff puts an end to high prices now. 5 days of the best car, truck, and SUV deals ever. Over 1,000 vehicles, every make and model. Stop overpaying. See Jeff today and get a quality car, truck, or SUV now. The 5-day used car super sale. Experience how easy it is to deal at Jeff's. Nobody treats you better. Nobody gives you more. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. GoJeffAuto.com.